It's week 2 of the 2014 high school football season in Daytona Beach, and tonight we've got a pretty good one. Live from Municipal Stadium in Daytona Beach and Larry Kelly Field, it's the Mainland Buccaneers taking on the Spruce Creek Hawks. Hello everyone, I'm Billy Gahagan, and seated next to me is a man who, up until this season, had been on the field for quite some time, but his time away should be short-lived. I'm talking about Steve Allen. Coach, welcome to the booth.
Thank you, Billy. I'm glad to be here. It's a great rainy night. We got a good matchup here, and I think that we could have a great ball game. Looking forward to it.
Now, Coach, we've both spent some time coaching in Volusia County, and neither of these schools is a stranger to either one of us. So let's talk briefly about these two programs. Last week, Spruce Creek High School defeated Seabreeze by a score of 19-12. Colin Olson, who's a verbal commit to Florida International, had 20 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown. Quarterback Tawan Williams was 14 of 18 for 118 yards and a touchdown, a 28-yard score to Aaron Connor. Coach, what does a win over the Sand Crabs do for the mentality of Spruce Creek High School?
Well, I think what it does is it gives them a great deal of confidence coming into this ball game, which they are a little overmatched, perhaps, like most people are against the Buccaneers. But I think they have to guard against letting that win give them a false sense of maybe our season is complete because we've beaten a team that we haven't beaten very many times in the past in Seabreeze. So I think they have to guard against that, and they should be up and they should be excited. They should be excited to get to play this game.
Okay. Now, on the other side of the field, Mainland High School, they're coming off of a 41-0 drubbing, if you will, of DeLand High School. In that game, quarterback Denzel Houston was 13 for 21 for 120 yards with a touchdown pass to Randy Baker. He also carried the ball 7 times for 122 yards, scored 2 touchdowns. Running back Adrian Killens, 11 carries, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 going for 78 yards, and Miko Dotson with a pick 6. Coach, to me, it sounded like business as usual for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and they've got some businessmen. I tell you, they've got some people who can get it done, and I'm excited to see them. I've not seen them this year, and I think that they have an array of talent that is probably unmatched in our area, and I'm looking forward to checking them out and just to see them live.
Both teams, as we said, won last week. They both come into the contest at 1-0. The head coach for Spruce Creek is Andy Price. He's in his second year. Scott Wilson is the leader of the Buccaneers. He's been there for quite some time now, taking over for John Moranto. The Spruce Creek Hawks enter the game not ranked in Class 8A, whereas the Buccaneers are ranked 3rd in Class 6A. There's a host of top players for each program. This could be a great game, Coach, one that a lot of people are expecting, or it could be what the other half of the spectrum is expecting as a one-sided deal. So what can we look for in tonight's game when you put these two teams on the field?
Well, I think you have a contrast in styles in both these teams. I think they both have enough talent to win the football game. It's just going to come down to some turnovers and big plays. In the run game, I think for Spruce Creek is going to be vital. You can't give a team with as much talent as Mainland multiple opportunities and possessions because you're not going to stop them forever. So you have to do something to manage that with your game plan. And in watching the game last week, watched Spruce Creek, and they did a nice job. They ball controlled. Tawan Williams managed the game very well, and he didn't try to do too much. And I think that's going to be a key, him not trying to do too much tonight and taking what's given to him. But the run game, Colin Olson's, he's going to be key for him. He's going to have to rush the football.
He's pretty good, huh?
I think he is pretty good. He's a bruiser. He's got better feet than you think he does. He's probably a little faster than you think he should be because of his size. He will be, probably the most physical ball carrier in this game. Now, I say that not having seen Mainland, but he fits the bill, I'll tell you that.
Now, this is one of those nights where we were laughing before we went on air. It's one of those nights where you always say when you're on the field, man, I never want to be anywhere but on the field. But it's a night like tonight where you're sitting up here in the booth. We're both in a collared shirt, and we're both saying, I don't know that I want to be on the field right now.
and we're high and dry. I usually don't like to have the headphones on, but if it means I get to sit and talk football with you and watch a good football game in the dry conditions, it's awesome.
Well, just so everybody understands why we're coming on so late, the game was scheduled for a 7 o'clock start. We did have a slightly torrential downpour. 'Tis the season here in Volusia County and all over Florida for that matter. We were delayed quite a bit of time. There's 9:35 remaining on the clock. Both teams have taken the field. They're going to do their warm-ups, their pregame rituals. When we come back in a few minutes, we'll have the kickoff. Spruce Creek High School against the Mainland Buccaneers. Welcome back live to Municipal Stadium, Larry Kelly Field in Daytona Beach. Billy Gahagan and Steve Allen bringing you the Spruce Creek Hawks and Mainland Buccaneers. I kind of understand now why we were asked the question beforehand, can that song be played again? That was Ariel Grande, I believe. She sang the opening anthem to the NFL season last night.
A stirring rendition.
Blew it out of the water there, Coach.
Yes, indeed.
You know, we were talking just before coming back on. This is truly a matchup that can go either way. On one hand, you have clearly the more dominant team in the Mainland Buccaneers, and that's not taking anything away from Spruce Creek. That's just letting everybody know that they are more than likely the team in the area. Across from them, the Spruce Creek Hawks. Coach, if Mainland doesn't drive the nail in the coffin right away, I think this is going to favor the Spruce Creek Hawks.
I agree, and I think you have the weather, I think, is also a factor, even though we are on a turf field here and we don't have the mud and you don't have that impact. You have a slick ball, you have a ball that's hard to throw, and it gives the team that has the more explosive personnel, it limits them a little bit, and I think it lends itself to the team that's going to be a little more plotting in how they go about things and maybe want to rush the football, slow the game down, and limit the possessions.
In the past, Spruce Creek has been a balanced. Now, when I say the past, I'll be made fun of this one by our boss Dan Discoli for saying this, but when I was at Spruce Creek under Coach Yoakum, we were a run-first team. Jermaine Green. We were, we threw it quite a bit, but they were a run-first team, a team that was pretty impressive back then. The kids were a lot bigger. How does the Spruce Creek team here, which I'm guessing based on the fact that they go spread and I formation, how do they match up with tonight's Mainland team?
Again, I think they match up well in styles. It's just a matter of how they are going to choose to play tonight, and that's a decision that you make in your game plan. And we're not privy to what their game plan is. But I would like to think that with the guys that they have in the back, I mean, they go 220, they go 225. There's two guys back there that are 220 or better. That lends itself to maybe be able to get the ball downhill. You look at those guys up front. And 240, 250, 275, they're not small, and I think that lends itself to maybe being able to rush the football. Now, they could surprise us, and maybe they are of a different school of thought. I'm not sure, but we're about to find out.
Well, last week against Seabreeze, a lot of people said that when they were in their spread offense, they really didn't have that much success. They switched to the eye and they started pounding. Obviously, we're talking about a tale of two defenses here. The young Seabreeze defense versus the very experienced and very fast defense of Mainland. So there's a chance then that if they come out in the spread, they're going to have no success, or is it just we have to play the weather, which, by the way, it's started raining even harder now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're using their spread, in my estimation, as a change-up and to be able to just be more diverse, and so people won't be packed in all the time against them. You don't want to pack in a bunch that runs real well, but at the same time, you're inviting people around the ball, but if you're moving them, and if you're moving them off their spot, that could be just the ticket. So we're going to see how they're going to choose to play this tonight, and I think that's going to have a lot to do with how this goes.
And we're going to get a chance to see them right off the bat. Mainland will kick off to start the game. Their backs will be to the scoreboard. That's the east side. They'll be kicking to the west, where Spruce Creek will receive the kickoff. Again, it's been raining ever since we got here and beforehand. So it will come into play. Just how much, we'll see. Like you mentioned, it's a turfus field. It's brand new. Around the edges, it's holding the water. I can only imagine what it's like on the field. The Mainland Buccaneers and the Spruce Creek Hawks have each taken the field. We're going to give it about a 30-second timeout, and we'll come back and bring you the live action between Mainland and Spruce Creek. Welcome back to Municipal Stadium. Billy Gahagan, Steve Allen, the Mainland Buccaneers, the Spruce Creek Hawks. Couldn't ask for a better Friday night. Mainland in their traditional gold domes, blue shirts, gold pants. That's the only really Mainland that I know. They typically wear a white on white, but this, to me, this screams Mainland High School. They'll be kicking off to the black helmet with orange chrome emblem and stripe, all white uniformed Spruce Creek Hawks. Set to kick off for the Buccaneers is number 18, Peter Baudette. And we are underway from Municipal Stadium. And as you expected, Mainland's coverage gets there quickly. Returned by number 18, I believe. Number 19, Andrew Spence. Well, here we go. Now we're going to see what Spruce Creek's made of.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what the first set is. I think that'll tell us a little bit about what Coach Price is thinking that he can get done with this defense. It's tough sledding against these guys. They're well coached, they're fundamental, and they're very, very fast.
Tawan Williams is your quarterback. Okay, coming out in the spread offense. Well, if that's any indication on the busted play, Tawan Williams swallowed up quickly by 8 of the Buccaneers.
Looks like we had a little miscommunication on the snap. He might have gotten that snap just a little bit before he thought he was going to, and defensively you're getting off on the snap. So if you've got 4 up front that are not, and the guys on the defensive side are, you're got a recipe for disaster there.
Not quite the first play, but again, it's only the first play. Some jitters, you think?
Absolutely. When you're the underdog, you can kind of wolf it up and act like you're not, a little bit worried. But you got to get those out of. You got to get hit.
Williams on the run, and his pass intended for Tanner Kraft. Flush from the pocket, but he had personal protector there. He just kept stringing it out. But that's Mainland defensive style. They're going to make you string everything out.
Absolutely, and I think that Tawan is I think he's a capable runner, and he's got great size, but I don't think he's a contain breaker. I think downhill, off tackle, quarterback read, those types of things are going to suit him tonight a little bit more than trying to beat that outside stuff because they're so fast.
Was he their quarterback last year?
No, he was not. He was not. I don't think that he was on the roster last year.
Okay. So, forced into a third down situation, Spruce Creek trips receivers to the right. Tawan Williams fakes the handoff to Olson. Again, going to roll to his right and try and do it with his legs. I believe he's going to come up short.
He's going to come up a couple short there. It's a great effort on his part, but you just want to try to stay away from those 3 and 15s with this defense, any defense really, but these guys are just going to pin their ears back and come get you when you get that. So that's a defensive down for sure.
I've always said that anytime you're facing a defense where 7 of the 11 players on defense are in single digits,
absolutely, really good call.
Not fair. Into punt for Spruce Creek. We got to work on their numbers. I think that's number 18, Edison Abadia. Spruce Creek will punt it away to 2 guys who I'm sure are sub 4'4".
I'm certain of that.
Kalo Hanna and Denzel Houston.
And I know
to be deep.
I know Kalo has turned it in there around 21-9, 22 flat in the 200, and that is burning.
Correction, that's not Denzel. That's Wilfred Taylor, a junior. So those 2 guys are going to be responsible for putting Mainland in good field position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 11 on each side. So 9:54 to go.
I'm sure that Nelson Abadia has a soccer background. I know his dad was a soccer coach there at Creek. And we got a bad snap here. We've got a shank.
Ball punted off the side of his foot. We started at the 25, and that ball is going to be placed now at the 27. That's a 2-yard punt for Spruce Creek. So, again, this is one of those opportunities offensively or as a team that you don't need to give Mainland short field.
Yeah, you've got to weather the storm, no pun intended here, just because you've given them 2 situations already, a 3rd and 15 you don't want to have, and now you've kind of had a special team, I don't want to call it a gaffe, but a poor special team play, and you're giving a really, really talented football team the ball on a short field.
Well, it's going to be our first opportunity to see what some are calling, or who some are calling rather, the best player in the area in sophomore quarterback Denzel Houston, and things just continue to get pretty bad for Spruce Creek. A 5-yard offside penalty to start defensively.
Yeah, it looks like they gave them the hard count, and they bit for it. Now we've got a 1st and 5, and that's a great down as a play caller, especially in this area of the field. They've got everything in the playbook available right now.
Yeah, I don't think it takes a special mind to know what's going on here when you have
No
the
doubt.
ball first down here. Houston throws out to the flats, caught by Kalo Hanna, and quickly the Spruce Creek defense showing gang tackling, bringing down Kalo Hanna for a loss on the play, a rare loss, no doubt, of about 3 yards.
I think that's one of those examples where the ball handling is tough. Even though we have a turf field, the ball is still slick. You don't get it out of your hand as fast. It throws the timing off on these quick screens. You'd like to get it to your ball carriers and let them go with it fast, and that was just a little slow, and I would say it's due to the ball.
Trips receivers to Houston's left. That'd be the wide side of the field on 2nd down, and we'll call it 13.
Wow.
Houston under pressure. That's 6. We'll just go ahead and call that now.
It's coming back here. I believe we've got a hold. But I tell you what, that was way too easy, Bill. Just simple quarterback read, and there was nobody home.
I mean, dare we say T.T. Tolliver?
I tell you what.
Dare we start throwing out names like that?
That's
He's a sophomore.
Seeing that blue and gold and seeing a guy that runs very fast but doesn't look like he's running hard, that is a T.T. Tolliver look, no doubt.
I always appreciate the guys that when they're running, their head doesn't move. That's when you know things are going good for you.
They've got some control.
So we have a personal foul. It's a face masking penalty against the Buccaneers. That will negate Houston's 33-yard touchdown run, and that's a 15-yarder.
Yeah,
So
the
we're
hat
gonna
came
replay
all the way
that.
off there, Bill.
I didn't see anything wrong with that one there, Coach. He must not have had the chin straps on tight enough.
Just tighten it down a little. Just tighten it down.
So the Buccaneers are faced with a 2nd down and a bus ride.
And once again, we're going to get that hard count, and they're going to get some of it back here. And it's just good offense. It really is. Just take the free stuff.
Is that a situation where Mainland really doesn't have to hard count? I mean, what's the purpose? What's 5 yards when you just got taken back 15?
Well, I understand, but that 5, how many times do you come up 1 yard short, or you get 4th and an inch, and,
Sure.
and you'll take every one that you can get. It looks like Creek is playing a small box, and we've got Solo on the top side. It's Brave.
So they're man free.
They are cover 5. It looks like 2 over the top, man free. Maybe a little bit of cover 1, 5-man box with an overhang out there just lingering, and somebody's gonna have to play really good coverage on that Solo side in that 3-by-1 set.
That was Adrian Killens on the reception. He picked up a good chunk of yards. Mainland still faced with a 3rd down and long situation. It's now 3rd and 10 from the Spruce Creek 27-yard line.
I believe it's Isaiah Butler that's the guy that's going to be soloed up in that 3-by-1 set on that side of the field. And DeAndre Butler is the other corner. They played very well last week, played with a lot of confidence. They're going to need that this week. There's the small
Houston
box.
sees nothing and just does what any veteran player would do. We got to keep in mind he's just a sophomore.
Yeah, he's not composing himself like a sophomore right now. He looks very under control, and he looks like he has a real strong grasp of what they're trying to do.
And looking over the roster, I didn't realize that Mr. Killens is also a sophomore. At Mainland, we don't rebuild, we reload high school.
Yeah, they absolutely have some explosive talent. And again, you got to keep them. You got to keep them close to you. And
staying with the shotgun set, that too easy.
Speed option. Yeah, speed option into the boundary.
Adrian Killens on the touchdown run, 5-yard touchdown run for Mainland. They're now up 6-0. Point after coming up.
Not the start that you'd like if you're on the other side, on the Creek side. However, you just got to regroup at this point. It's one score. There's 8:19 left. In the quarter. There's plenty of time.
Plenty of game left for.
Yeah.
And this isn't that nail in the coffin. That was just a drive that you would have expected when you're given the short side of the field.
Absolutely. And they had him behind the chains with the penalty, and they're going to have to find an answer for the run out by the quarterback, because that's been a little bit too easy. And the answer is, Billy, is you get an extra guy in the box. And when you get the extra guy in the box, now you're soloing all those, explosive guys, and then his arm is going to, take over, or not take over, but then you'll bring his arm into it. He's going to throw the ball down the field to these guys. So that's just, part of the chess match that you're involved in when you're playing anybody in a football game defensively. And Coach Meadows is a veteran coach. I'm sure he'll find some adjustments.
Bodette's point after is good, puts the Buccaneers up 7-0 here in the first quarter. 8:19 remaining. We're going to stay right here, just capitalizing on what you said about Coach Meadows, knowing that he's a cover zero guy. Are you surprised that he didn't change that coming into the game, knowing who he was playing?
They played like this a lot last week against Seabreeze, and one thing when you're playing a Mark Beach team, that Mark knows what he's doing. They're as good at running the spread, probably brought the spread to this area, and if he's going to do that against those guys, I think that's just part of his philosophy, and I think he's going to try to just stay true to what he does.
Bodette's kick goes down to the 3-yard line. Nice return by the Spruce Creek Hawks. That puts them 1st and 10 from about the 26-yard line. Hopefully they'll have a better second series than they did.
Absolutely. You got to win on first down. That's not rocket science. And you get behind the chains from the jump. It makes it tough against a defense like this. So let's see if Creek's second series, they get the jitters out and settle down a little bit and put together a drive.
Okay, they're going to stay in their spread offense. Williams and Olsen in the backfield. Faking the handoff to Olsen again, and Twan Williams elects to keep the ball going nowhere, and again losing yardage.
Looks like they might be trying to trap that in there off the quarterback read, off the zone play, but it's hard to tell from this angle. But it's tough sledding in there. That Mainland's doing a nice job. The 3 technique collapsed it right there. And when you collapse it and make them bounce, it's tough. You're bouncing it to your speed. You're playing to your strengths as the Buccaneers.
Defensively, there's a host of guys that are going to college there. Not just guys that are going to college next year, but guys from the future. Hand it off to Olsen. Ball on the ground.
Oh.
Here we go. Fumble recovery by number 50.
He's not done. Oh.
That's Kevin Gilliard.
Billy, we talked at the outset, your run game, big play limitation, and turnovers. And Spruce Creek has already kind of fallen victim to 2 of those right now, and this turnover here is big. Coach Price is going to have his hands full trying to just manage his kids and not let them be down, because this is not the start that you would want.
And again, short field number 1, but one of the things you were talking about Coach Price having to keep his kids in this game. Here's the problem. There was a penalty on the play, I guess. Wait a minute. Mainland's offense.
Illegal block after the fumble recovery.
We've coached on this level, so we know what kids are like. It's not the college level. It's definitely not the pro level where everybody knows that they're in it until the fourth quarter says 000.
Correct.
You can almost bet, unless this is a special group of Hawks, that one more score here and they're going to be doubting a lot of things.
Absolutely. Momentum is huge in high school football, and right now the Omo is on the blue and gold side.
Houston again, this time handing the ball off to Killens, a little juke, little jive, and he'll pick up 7 yards on that carry, which is something you expect, again, from a kid like Adrian Killens. I believe he's all of 5'8".
5'7", 155, but I tell you, he runs it tough, and he is lightning. And you also like to get that 7 on first down. That's what we're alluding to earlier about winning on first down. It just makes everything, defensive calls are tougher, offensive calls are easier.
Much easier. Everyone's got that 2nd down and 3 call in their bag.
Yep.
Houston again under center or in the shotgun set, coming near side. That's Kalo Hanna again on the reception. And if I'm not mistaken, Kalo's a young kid too. No, he's a senior. Okay. Not all of their good guys are underclassmen.
Right. They did a good job of getting to the ball there. Collier, McMillan, and the Butler boys. They rallied nice there. They limited that pass play. And if you're going to limit the pass plays, especially the yak, the yards after catch, I think that's going to be key to controlling this Buck offense.
Steady rain still continues to fall. That's Killens on the carry on a bit of a counter move. He's down to inside the 20-yard line. He's down to about the 17-yard line, where it just seems like anything that they're doing is working.
Yeah, you get that odd front, and you give the zone inside, and you just kind of push it off the one technique. And if the nose is moving one way as that back is attacking the A-gaps, he just moves off of him, and they're just cutting it back off of that one technique right now. And it's 95% of America, the people who run this offense, that's what they do, and that's just how it is. And your guys have got to be solid and hit their spots.
Holding call against the Bucks is going to negate Killens' run, bring him back. They're still going to be faced with a 3rd down again. But ironically, with the penalty, it's still enough yardage for a first down. You know, Coach, that to be able to read, to be able to have the vision as a running back for the inside zone, and that's sweet. And if the running backs understand that things are going to flow, and you get a defense that overflows or over pursues, and you understand, hey, that cutback is there.
Right.
You know, that's the inside zone, much different from the outside zone, the stretching of plays. You got to have that tailback that can get around that 7 technique in the outside zone. Whereas with Killens being a jitterbug type of a receiver or a running back, if he sees that quick enough, he's going to pick up big yards.
Yeah, the double-edged sword on that deal is your inside backers, they know, you know how much speed they have. And so you want to get to play side, and that play is looking like it's going to end up on one side, and it ends up out the back door. And if the backside linebacker and the backside defensive lineman aren't meshing right there, or they're getting cut off, you got problems. But I think the key for the back is you have to push the inside zone. You have to push that up in there.
Absolutely.
To make that happen. And when you get that going on, you just put a lot of pressure on the defense.
And see, when we ran it, I was a proponent of let's stretch them, let's stretch them, let's stretch them, let's get over, and then come back with the inside zone. And a lot of people's philosophy is, what the hell? Let's just go inside zone right now.
Right. Well, they're 4 over 3 here, and they got a double move on the outside, and they've got him. And I don't know if he kept one in, but that's a heck of a throw and catch right there.
Denzel Houston's pass complete to Will Collins, senior captain of the Buccaneers. That's going to give them 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Again, playbook wide open.
Wide open. Will Collins is a really good student, I understand. He's got some Ivy League looks and made a great play there.
Collins was being covered by Butler. And right up the gut, touchdown, Mainland Buccaneers. Adrian Killens with his 2nd score of the evening. I tell you what, if I'm the Killens kid or if I'm somebody else, I'm almost saying to our defense, hey, don't be afraid to let them cross the 50 because
right.
I'm going to have 27 carries for 27 yards. It's not going to be fun.
Right. And if this start is any indication, one of the things that happens in a game like this.
Baudette's kick is up and good. 2 possessions for the Buccaneers, 2 scores. with 5:35 remaining. It's Mainland 14, Spruce Creek 0. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Municipal Stadium in Daytona Beach. I'm Billy Gahagan. Next to me, Steve Allen. 14-0. Mainland leads leads Spruce Creek on this soggy evening. Baudette's kickoff fielded, and as is customary, the return man swallowed up by the Buccaneers.
One of the great things about having speed is you get population to the ball, and good things are going to happen when you get a bunch of hats around the ball.
I just said Mainland Seabreeze like I'm anticipating the October 31st matchup. Was that bad? We're playing Spruce Creek and Seabreeze. That's who we're watching.
Well, it's an awfully big game. It is every year.
But clearly this is not Seabreeze.
Clearly it is not Seabreeze.
They're black and orange. I'll figure that out eventually.
We'll excuse you this time.
I appreciate that. Starting again from the short side of the field. This time it looks as if they've abandoned the spread. Williams under center. He'll hand the ball off to number 28. That's Aaron Connor.
Aaron did a nice job last week. Had some carries. Had a little screen and a couple other plays. But what I was getting to before we took the break, Billy, is when you get in this situation as a team that has perennially not beaten another team, and you get to this spot, there comes a time when your kids start to think, oh, here we go again.
Mm-hmm. Now, in this particular offensive set, Olsen moves to a fullback / H-back, I would imagine.
And they're trying to run flood.
Flush from the pocket was Williams, rolled to his right. Pass was intended for, I believe, Tanner Kraft. Flag on the play. If it's against Spruce Creek, we can say we expected that, but if it's against Mainland, a little life into the Spruce Creek Hawks.
I think we might have a hold here, a defensive hold on the receiver. They're trying to run a little flood play. They ran that play a bunch last week and got the ball to Olsen out of the backfield. Just a 3-level play and out, and a deep out, and then a corner route. Makes it tough though when the quarterback's under duress.
Sure.
But they're going to get some help with the penalty here.
Pass interference was the call against the Buccaneers. That's going to give Spruce Creek their best field position of the evening, putting them at the 31-yard line.
And they come back to the spread here.
Trying to get the change set on the far side of the field. Let's see what Mr. Williams has in store for us now. Okay, pickup of about 6 on the play.
Looks like quarterback power, Bill. And you take that on first down now.
But why abandon, or is it abandoning, or do you think that's just the mindset is we're just going to have to mix it up?
I just think you're always trying to find ways, and you're not going to just have one way. They're just too talented, big and strong up front through the middle, and too fast in behind it. You're going to have to do some different things.
Now, Tawan ran all over Seabreeze last game, did he?
He ran the ball pretty good, and he also flushed out of the pocket and made some plays with his feet that had broken down. Creek's doing a nice job here on this drive. We've got Olsen running it in here. We've got the quarterback running it. They've got a manageable third down.
Olsen picks up about 4 on the play. That gives Spruce Creek third down and about 1 yard to go from their 40-yard line. 3:45 remaining in the contest. The Hawks are down 14-0. Mainland has scored on each of their first 2 possessions. Spruce Creek, on the other hand, has turned the ball over once on a fumble, and once on a bad punt.
We have zero coverage out here now against the spread look. If you can crease the line of scrimmage, you can make a big play, but there's no creasing going on there.
Yeah, that just wasn't what they were hoping for on third down and short.
No, it was not. And they're putting the ball in their quarterback's hands, and they feel like, I guess, he's a big guy, and they want him to get those tough yards. But you're going to have to block him, regardless of who that ball carrier is going to be or what type of scheme or play you're going to call. You've got to block him. And
Abadia back into punt for the Hawks, back deep. Once again is Kalo Hanna.
well, it's a scary thought as a coach when you look back there and you see that guy that runs so well. Oh.
I believe that might have been a designed punted out of bounds, and I know many teams over the years, their idea on fourth down for a punting situation was to have their punter turn and get it right out of bounds. Don't give them a chance.
Yeah, you don't give them a chance, but I'd like to, my philosophy would be more to put that thing around the numbers, so I'm going to get some yards out of it also, because you're going to have to flip this field at some point. And right now, we've played it all on the west end of this football field.
Denzel brings his Buccaneers out once again. It's their third possession. This time it's on their side of the 50-yard line.
Nice play here by the outside linebacker, squeezing it down on the zone play.
Jordan Stathakis
Nicely done.
on the stop. I thought I'd take that name from you because I knew you were probably going to struggle with a Greek name.
I appreciate that,
You're
Bill.
welcome. That's why I'm here, buddy. Something new that I'm noticing over here on the mainland sideline with the signs. I guess everybody's trying to go Fancy Dan, but we have Robin on one side and
Batman's on the other side.
Kobe Bryant on one side as well.
Right.
Okay, well, whatever works, I guess.
It's the same set they had. It's a tray formation. It's a 3-by-1 with the tight end. They're throwing the stop route out here. Nice play, nice throw and catch.
Houston throwing to the short side of the field. His pass is complete. I believe that's Wilford Taylor.
And you're going to have that because generally people are not going to run as well as those cats on the outside. And you give them a little bit of room, and if you're patient, and that's just a good play call by Coach Anthony, if they're going to give them that, they're just going to take the stops. And then eventually, like we had on the last series, you're going to get a stop and go. Just be patient, take your shots when they're available.
Speaking of Coach Anthony, as Houston hands the ball off to Killens, Coach Anthony, one of quite a few coaches on the mainland staff that are alum of the school. Terry Anthony, an alum. Co-defensive coordinator Travis Rowland is an alum. Dan Lundy is an alum. I believe Scott Wilson went there.
Yes, sir.
They're doing a pretty good job of bringing back their own.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things in my 20-odd years around here, that the mainland contingent is strong that way. They're bonded, and they're showing that with their coaching staff.
Well, they do go by the phrase "Buck pride never dies." Houston's pass completed to Kalo Hanna, touchdown for the Buccaneers. 3 possessions, 3 scores.
Yeah, it looked like Terrell McMillan just took a bad angle there, and it's hard if you've got a good thrower and you're running through the post and that quarterback leads you to where you need to be, and that was a great throw by Denzel.
Once again, Baudette on to attempt the point after for the Buccaneers. We aren't even out of the first quarter yet, and the Hawks find themselves in a very deep hole, down 3 scores to none. Baudette's kick is up, and it's good. 21-0. The Mainland Buccaneers lead the Spruce Creek Hawks. We'll be right back. Back live to Municipal Stadium, Larry Kelly Field, Billy Gahagan, Steve Allen, 21-0. Mainland leads Spruce Creek. Baudette's kickoff bounces around
That's
15.
trouble.
You can call that what you want. You can call it slick ball, wet field, nerves.
Yeah, you've got to field the ball. That in your special teams and your kick teams, you need to get it snapped, kicked, and you've got to get it fielded. And Creek didn't do a very good job there. You can't let all that speed come running down at you and have that thing rolling around on the grass, because they are going to come get it.
Is this one of those situations where you have it all up and say, we're still in the game?
Well, this is, it's everybody in the stands knows the play calls, and they know kind of what's going on, or they think they know what's going on. And when you get in this spot, when everything's going well, it's easy to coach, and when it's not going well, it is very, very hard. And we have another turnover here. Unless it was ruled down, it is a turnover.
That's another turnover. So you're saying that Spruce Creek just can't get it going?
Well, the keys, again, to tonight were the run game for Creek, which outside of 3 plays has been pretty non-existent, limiting the big plays, which they've not been able to do, and turnovers. And those are the 3 things that are, they're just glaring right now.
Last week, Mainland, although they beat DeLand, I'm going to have to guess, knowing Travis Rowland as well as I do, it's a loss in his book. Coach, they gave up just over 100 yards of total offense, I think.
Right.
I think that might be on their minds right now as they're sitting here doing everything they can to limit Spruce Creek.
When you're good, you're finding ways to motivate, because everybody's patting your kids on the back and they think everything's great, and you're finding ways. And I guarantee you he put that in their craw. Now wide open in the end zone on the fade route.
That's
it's too easy.
I'm gonna guess Jevin Williams, 21. It's hard to tell.
It's hard to see it from here, but I tell you,
doesn't matter.
You just can't let them throw it over top of you. That's the second time they've let them throw it over top.
24, yeah.
24. Randy Baker, who found the end zone last week. Sorry, Coach, didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. You just can't allow the over-the-top big plays. Make them earn it. Make them, throw those stop routes like we talked about. And that's the second time that we've seen Denzel go over top, and it was pinpoint.
Baudette, point after good. 31 seconds left. That between scores, that took all of 17 seconds.
Right. And I think Coach Anthony's very aware that the entire secondary for Creek last year graduated. And although those guys that are back there playing, we've got 3 juniors and a senior, their game experience is limited. And this is not a bunch that you want to have inexperience in the back with, because they just run too well. And obviously Denzel is all he was advertised to be. He has been spot on.
So, Spruce Creek has had 4 possessions. It's been a punt, and it's been 3 turnovers. Mainland has had 4 possessions. It's been 2 runs for a score and 2 passes for a score.
Yeah, turnovers, big plays. It's kind of a broken record, but this as the coach coming in, and now Creek is just faced with managing the situation. This could get out of hand really, really easily here.
Baudette's kick is fielded at the 20 this time. Have a little bit of a wall set up here, Coach.
We got a little return here. All right, it's hard to run sideways, but they end up, they come out, they get it to the 35. That's a good start, please.
That's number 19, Andrew Spence, senior wide receiver, on the return. I would say that was their best return of the evening. So they're going to set up shop at their own 35-yard line. That's been their best start of the evening.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what happens in this possession.
I look to see what set they want to be in and what they think that they can do, because you're starting to look for answers. You're starting to look for trying to solve the puzzle, and the puzzle is they're big, they're strong, they're fast, and they're well coached, and that's just not an easy task.
Either way, it's going to probably be a 1 possession, because it's 22 seconds left. They're going to look to control the clock, but as we do the counting of players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there's no Mr. Olson on the field for the Hawks.
Yeah, and they appear to be in a double tight, what I would call an eye right or eye left set there, and it's a it's a power set, and look to be pretty tight with their splits in there. So maybe that's what coach is thinking, that he's got a little bit better chance of getting that ball moved that way.
And Olsen just checked into the game.
Yes, he did.
Maybe he forgot they were on offense.
And it could be a personnel thing. I know from last week they were doing a lot of wholesale personnel. When they would go to the spread, they would bring 3 or 4 in. When they would go back, and they were alternating in and out, and they did a nice job of mixing that up against Seabreeze. But the thing about mixing it up is when things aren't going well, and you're mixing it up, it's like you're kind of poking hope. You're grabbing for things. You're trying to find it, and you don't always settle for something. So they're going to have to find something that they can limit those possessions.
No doubt.
That's what they're going to have to do.
And
I think that's
they're
what
going to have to find the end zone soon to give them any chance of hope.
Running power. And again, when you pack them in, you do have a chance to get them all down there, maybe hit a seam and break. But you do bring them all there. You bring them all around the ball. And Mainland does a real nice job of just being and hitting their spots where they need to be. That's just a simple power play to the right. Backside backer reads the guard. He gets over top. They got an extra man there. 2-yard gain.
That play is going to bring to close the first quarter. After one complete quarter, your score: the host Mainland Buccaneers 28, Spruce Creek nothing. We'll be right back. Back live to Municipal Stadium, Larry Kelly Field. Billy Gahagan, Steve Allen bringing you the Mainland Buccaneers and the Spruce Creek Hawks. First play of the second quarter. Olsen up the middle. It's 28-0. Mainland leading Spruce Creek.
Got a little push on the trap there. Again, third and manageable. 3rd and 4. We got a manageable, but again in this set, the playbook is limited. If you're going to throw the football, you're limited to your play action pass. You got big tight ends who are not going to run off from this secondary. So let's see what Coach Price dials up.
Williams under center. Obviously looking for a hard count.
Absolutely.
Didn't get it.
They run power, and they are not going to get it.
That's Aaron Connor on the carry. Brings up a 4th down. It's a definite punting situation. It's, at some point you're going to have to see them start going for it on 4th down, but I don't think the second quarter is quite that time. Right.
Lee, Travado, Trung, those guys up front for Creek are going to have to find a way to get some push, and it's easier said than done. But Mainland is winning at the line of scrimmage. They're winning in turnovers, and they're winning in special teams.
Hannah and Taylor both back deep for Spruce Creek as they spread the field for their punting formation.
Looks like Coach Rowland didn't like something he's seeing there. I think he called for the timeout there.
Spruce Creek obviously reaching into their bag of tricks because they were pretty standard punt formation the first 2 times they punted.
Yeah, they've had some trouble with that team, and they've really yet to. They've had a bobbled snap, and they've had 2 poor punts, actually. I agree with you on the second one. I do think he was probably just trying to kick it away from him, but they're going to need to flip the field a little bit with their special teams. That net kick yardage, Coach Oakham taught me about that a long time ago. It's a vital thing in a football game is your net kick average.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit hidden, and it's not always just, how well your punter's kicking it. It's the cumulative effect of those kicks and where the ball is moving to.
Coach, do you think they're doing this to basically give themselves the advantage of having defenders throughout the entire width of the field here?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the only reason why you would go to this at this stage of the game down 28-0.
Absolutely. We would call this to get them off of us. We want to get them off of us here. And this, they can only rush so many because they've got to cover down outside and take care of the, you're basically taking 5 over 6 on the outside, leaving a 5-man box. And
a body is punt again, just out of bounds. So that being the case, why not just overload the one side of the field?
I mean, you got a 16-yard punt maybe. I don't even know from the line of scrimmage that it was that. It's just it's not ideal. You're just going to have to shore that up a little bit as they go through their district play, because in their district, the Lake Marys, who's got points in the polls, and the Brantleys and Seminoles loaded with athletes. DeLand's, always is still DeLand. They've got a lot of football ahead of them to play, and your punt team is your most important special team.
So Houston out for his 5th possession of the evening on his side of the 50 from about the 45-yard line.
They are going right up top.
Up top. Oh, in and out of the hands of Wilfred Taylor.
Great play there by McMillan. He made a play on the ball. Ball was just a little bit underthrown, but we may have a hold on a wide receiver on the outside down here on our side, Bill. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. We're having a discussion.
Well, it's either going to be a hold, an illegal pick, or maybe he wasn't on the line. Maybe one guy was covered up. I mean,
could have been
whenever
that.
you're discussing things of that nature, it's never a simple penalty. But we'll see. 10:25 to go.
That was just straight out 4 verts, and they're trying to put the nail in the coffin. Is what they're doing, and that's kind of how you do it.
Ineligible downfield. Right, that's ineligible. That's the.
I would not be surprised right here, Bill. We've got the same set. We got a similar set. I would not be surprised. We're in 2-by-1 here. I'm not sure where the. Okay.
Illegal participation was the call. A very rarely called penalty.
See Jacob Tillman checking into the game here. He's listed as a tight end on the roster.
Their signs are letting them down. Batman and Robin and Kobe. I'd love to know who's on the other side of Kobe. I think that's Kobe.
Right.
24. I don't watch basketball. It's not fun for me.
Okay, we're getting stoppage of play again.
Timeout, Mainland High School. They're going to figure things out. As they look to figure things out, so are we. 28-0. Mainland leads Spruce Creek. We'll be right back. Back live to Municipal Stadium and Larry Kelly Field, the Mainland Buccaneers and Spruce Creek Hawks. I didn't say Seabreeze that time. Denzel Houston's pass in and out of the hands of Wilfred Taylor. That's pretty uncommon.
Yeah, had
to see
to come
these
back.
guys drop it.
Had a comeback route there, and it was on the money, and he just laid it on the ground, reload, go to next. Not necessarily a manageable situation yardage-wise, but again, when you have explosive athletes, and you've already shown that you have the ability to go over the top, you're scared to death on the other side as a defensive coordinator because you don't want to just let them go over the top, but you still have to manage what's right there in front of you.
3rd and 15, something the Buccaneers haven't seen much of this evening. Houston, all the time in the world.
Oh, nice play
Nice play
here.
defensively.
Yeah, DeAndre Butler just made a great break, and I like to see him bounce back after the post route. And the kids are playing, and that's what you want to see on the other side, and that's what you're trying to. It's not as easy as you might think to try to get those kids to continue to play, and they forced a punt. That's a bright spot, and that's a good thing. They can build on that.
So Mainland on their 5th possession forced a punt in to do that. I just want to make sure I see that correctly. That's Ja'Kai Polite. Ja'Kai Polite is back to punt for Mainland. Ja'Kai, coach, he's like 6'6",
Did a nice job.
something pounds.
Yeah, did a nice job. Moved it down the field. And again, that's all you want from your punt team. Limit the no blocks, no bad snaps, and get the ball off and move them to the other end so that your defense, is not playing with its back up against the wall.
Nice punt by Ja'Kai.
Absolutely.
That was a, let's do quick math, 24 and 4, 28-yard punt. Seemed like a lot longer than that, didn't it?
It did seem a bit longer than that, but they'll take it.
From the 46 to the 26, those are the numbers. 24, you have to do the math. That was right. It's only a 28-yard punt. It's just because he was so far back. I'm a punter, I know.
It looks like they're zeroed out again.
Back in their form of the spread. From the 26, handoff to Olsen. Hard yards.
Hard yards.
2 hard-earned yards.
Last week it seemed like the Seabreeze defenders were trying to be up top a bunch with Olsen, and really he's just too big, too powerful for that. Now the Mainland defenders are taking a little different approach here. They're kind of getting it cut down before it gets started, but yes, a hard 2 yards indeed.
I'm going to go ahead and correct myself. Ja'Kai is 6'5", 240. I just want to throw that out there for those of you scoring at home.
And listed as a defensive lineman.
He
did
is
a nice job.
Defensive lineman. He has received a few offers for some colleges. This is his 2nd year of football. He's a basketball player as well. He's related to former Seabreeze offensive lineman Lawrence Martin, who played at South Florida. He's related to Mainland offensive line coach Fred Nolan. The bloodlines.
They just keep coming.
They don't stop.
They just keep coming.
Marcus Brunson is his father. Marcus Brunson played at Seabreeze. He was a good football player there. But the list goes on and on. Denzel Houston is the brother of former Seabreeze running back Leroy Houston.
He was an excellent player.
Boy, he had
very versatile.
Coach, yes.
He did. He was very versatile. He fit Mark's offense very well.
He made us that much more dangerous. Williams under pressure, and he's going to be sacked.
You have a screen and go on the outside, and it's really a good call. It's just so you've got to block him. And by the time he finished his pump and he took his reset, he was wearing gold helmets, and there's just nowhere to go. And again, you've got a big lost yardage play. You've put yourself behind the chains. It's a good call, I believe. It looked like they reacted initially. It would have taken a great throw, but I think a good call.
Marcus Brunson, speaking of, was in on the sack. Puts Spruce Creek in a very, very deep hole. 3rd and very long. Williams going to hand off to Olsen. Maybe thinking we'll catch him off guard.
I still
or do we want to keep the clock running?
Well, I think maybe a little both, but I also think that the bigger factor there is just trying to keep the ball. You don't want to throw it up down the field and take a chance. These guys, returned 7 touchdowns last year for balls in the air, and they're just not the group in the back that you want to just hand it to. But here we are in a punt situation again from the 20. And if we do something similar to what's happened the first 3 times, here we go with the bad snap that's bouncing. All right, we get it out.
A little better punt fielded by Hanna. He's going to come near side.
He's got a block.
Boy, that's going to come back.
Yes, it is.
You know, that's one of those things that they take a lot of pride in their special teams, the Mainland Buccaneers do.
I know that when Coach Moranto was there, they were always well-schooled, and if you're well-schooled in your special teams and you have the athletes that give you a chance for those explosive plays, that's a great combination.
Definitely coming back on a hit in the back or holding, either one. I don't mind being corrected.
Be interested to see how the Bucs are going to come out here after the first time that they've been stopped tonight in their last drive. If they're just going to go back up top, try to put that nail in the coffin, or are they just going to run their offense and see what happens? Looks like we're going to get zero coverage.
All right, Coach. I've wanted to hold this for a little bit later in the broadcast, but at what point do you think Mainland just becomes ho-hum with coming out here and taking possession each time?
I think it's something that you have to fight. You know, your kids get a little complacent when things are going well, and if you know they run in their little zone read, try to get their quarterback up inside here, and they get nothing, and now they're back in a 2nd and long, and you kind of, as the coach, you just kind of got to re-wake them up a little bit, you know, and just say, look, fellas, we've got to get this thing going. You know, it was too easy early. We got to play, and the Creek kids are doing a good job of battling.
I know that as a coach, and this is one of those thoughts that you never really want to let anybody know, but I think people who understand the game do know. As a coach in this game, when you're on the side that's got those points, you always say to yourself, man, let's get to that 35-point mark. Let's get to that point where it's a running clock. Nice play defensively by number 23. That's Tremel McMillan. But do you think they're saying to their offense, hey, man, just get that other score in there. Let's make sure that we put this game away?
Right, I would be interested to be in that huddle down there and know what they've got, and what they have facing them right now is a 3rd and a bunch here at 3rd and 11, and they had a post route running open there. He couldn't see him, and you know we're on the verge here having our 2nd stop, and maybe Creek can get some life and gain some momentum from that. Let's see what they've got.
Singled up here on the near side, trips to the left. Houston looking downfield, has a receiver open. He overthrew his receiver. And are we going to get credit for it? No. Ball hit the turf. Dante Collier is not going to get credit for an interception, but Houston will get credit for an incomplete pass. It'll bring up a punting situation for the Buccaneers.
And giving Creek a little bit of life here, and you can see it in their kids. The defensive guys are a little bit more excited. You know, they've figured out that they could stop them, and they can stop them, and they've made some good plays, and I'm sure Coach Meadows is mixing up his looks here and making some adjustments and trying to get this high-powered offense stopped.
Back-to-back stops for the Spruce Creek defense, forcing another Mainland punt. Again, don't adjust your set. That's 6'5" defensive lineman Ja'Kai Polite in to punt the ball away for the Buccaneers.
Not as good as his last effort, but we're going to move it down the field, and the Hawks are going to take over here, and let's see what their offense needs to put something together.
6:36 remaining in the first half. 28-0. Mainland leads Spruce Creek. I'm Billy Gahagan, joined by Steve Allen. Coach Allen enjoying, I guess you could say that, enjoying being up here in the dryness of tonight's weather, but are you enjoying not being a coach on the sidelines? Come on, man, talk to me.
Yeah, you
Too
know,
early?
it's bittersweet.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
there are a lot of days after school that it's nice, you know, but if you do it, that's what you do, and you miss it. But at least I can be around it and be up here with you, and I'm enjoying that.
Once again in the spread offense, Williams fakes his handoff to Colin Olson.
trying to
Picks
run
up
counter
zero.
Trey here, Bill, and they're just collapsing it. And just like any good team, you get the down block, you're squeezing hard off of it. The front side's just taking on the block, and it's just getting wadded up. And that's what you do to the counter Trey. You just try to wad it up and just give them no place to go.
Not Ryan Mack, but Tawan Williams' helmet was knocked off. I was just going to ask you, as I see him walk off the field, is that a rule for us as well at the high school level as it is in the college level? If your helmet comes off, you have to go off a play?
Yeah, you have to come out, and that's I tell you, it's something that you've got to plan for and be ready to manage, because you don't always know when that's going to happen, and you may need that person that got their lid knocked off.
Taking the snap that time was number 12, William Walter. He's a sophomore quarterback. He took one snap. He'll be heading off the field, I'm sure, unless he just is a receiver for them as well. No, I take that back. Mr. Walter stayed on the field. Two guys came on. I don't know if two went off, but we're going to see here shortly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay.
We're back to one of those third and long situations, and the Creek is just going to have to find a way to limit those. Good job sealing the corner.
Williams rolling out to his right, throws.
I think he caught it. Great catch here.
Backup quarterback William Walter on the reception. That's going to move the chains for the Hawks. First down.
Having trouble protecting, so you get your quarterback outside the pocket on a designed rollout. It's a great call. And, hey, we've got a first down. And they need anything that's going to be a confidence builder that they can get here. And bigger than that, Bill, is keeping their defense, who's already taken, even on short fields, taken not necessarily a lot of snaps, but too many series. And they're gonna wear down. They're going to wear down, and this offense needs to do something to help them. And maybe this is the drive that's going to kind of ignite them a little bit.
Officials timeout on the field for water. 5:04 remaining in the first half. The Mainland Buccaneers having their way with Spruce Creek, 28-0. Spruce Creek making that long journey up here from Port Orange. I think they spent maybe 7 minutes on the interstate.
Their journey next week will be quite a bit longer as they go to, I believe it's Ozen, Texas, and in Beaumont, and that's going to be quite an excursion.
Texas boys looking for some bragging rights. I know that's always the question. Who's better? Florida, the great state, Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California. We're sending out the high-flying Hawks.
Yeah, and they'd like to take with them a little bit of confidence, and I'm not sure at this point how much confidence they might have.
Williams, 3 receivers to his left, drops back. That's going to be a screen that Mainland had sniffed out. Williams comes near side, flag on the play. This is going to be an interesting flag to see who that goes against, but nonetheless, if it stands, Williams has
holder blocking the back, perhaps. When you get outside the pocket like that and the quarterback scrambles, the wideouts turn into blockers, and you and I know that usually the worst blockers on the field are the wideouts, and they're put in a precarious spot too because they're not sure exactly where their quarterback is.
It's tough for anybody. I mean, even the boys up front.
Yeah.
When you have a guy, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Charlie Ward. I mean, that offensive line had to block for days when Ward was back there.
And you don't know where he is.
You don't. You have no clue. You don't know you don't know eventually if you've drifted downfield and Charlie, or the quarterback rather, has thrown the ball and now you're called for illegal downfield. So it's a tough situation to be in. Penalty was against the Hawks, holding, as Coach Allen said, on the near side receiver. It's going to put them in a hole. So it'll be 1st and 15, call it 16 rather, for the Hawks.
And with 4:46 here, I don't think you have to change your play call. I think what you need to do is you need to work for first downs. But
that's impossible.
That is not going to happen.
Delay?
Yes, it just can't happen.
But how? That's impossible that was a delay of game call when they just set the ball in following their penalty. There's no way.
Bill, one of my things that I've experienced in Volusia County and coaching around here for a while is I believe we have an A1 officiating crew.
Okay, so we'll let that go. 4:44 to go. 28-0, Spruce Creek down to Mainland. Oh, boy. Handoff to Olsen. Instead, Williams elects to keep it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in on the stop. Number 44, that's Kevin McCrary. He's one of their top defensive players. He's 6'2", 260 pounds, Coach. And here's the best part. He's only a junior. So he'll be back wreaking havoc next season as well.
Let me tell you the best part.
Unless he declares early.
Correct, right.
Then in which case, then the teams in the area are fine.
But I feel like the best part about Kev is if you know him, he is a great kid. I have talked to him a number of times, and he's a great student and just a nice kid to go along with being a super football player, and he is hard to handle inside.
McCrary, this is, I mean, you look at Mainland High School, Tawan's going to use his legs to try and get out of it. You look at Mainland High School, and we were talking about this as well before the broadcast. You talk about rich in history with athleticism. McCrary is going to follow the likes of Jonte Bird, who went to Kent State, and some guy who's playing out west. His name escapes me every time I talk about this kid, but I need to just go ahead and say this publicly. And you can feel free to smack me if you wish. I thought he was overrated.
Well, I don't think when you turn on the NFL draft next spring that you'll feel that way. I don't think the NFL guys will, because Leonard Williams will be one of the top 5 picks in the draft.
Coach,
he was a super player.
I watched Leonard Williams, pass falls incomplete. The woes continue, but I watched Leonard Williams against an undersized Seabreeze offensive line do absolutely nothing.
And it happens like that. And, sometimes you get – they're kids. They're high school kids.
Sure.
And at that time, you're not always consistent from week to week. Sometimes, if you think you're overmatched or you overmatch the people you play, maybe you don't bring your A game. But I generally find that the good ones, the better the competition gets, the better they get.
They come to play.
And I think that's shown up in his career at USC.
I mean, listen, man, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to hide behind what I said. I'm not going to hide behind it. I said it. I just thought he was overrated, and I'm going to eat those words, and I gladly do so, because anytime a Volusia County kid has a chance to showcase himself, I mean, think about it. They've put out Ricardo Allen, who's on the practice squad of the Atlanta Falcons. They've put out Ejiro Qualley, who's playing in the CFL. They've put out the list goes on.
I think about guys like T.T. Tolliver.
T.T. Tolliver, who's still playing football. He's 172 years old, and he's still playing.
Right.
He's still playing football in the Arena League.
And getting it done.
And then there are guys that are still in college. Marlon Lane still at Tennessee. Quentin Powell's at USC. They had Squirt. They had Trey Rodriguez. The list continues to go. Kali Williams. It goes on and on. It just doesn't stop. They never rebuild at Mainland High School. They always reload.
Absolutely. And you think of just other guys like the Trey Waldens, people like that who were just wonderful.
I mean, we can go, right.
Yeah, they're just so
Antoine
many.
Wyatt, who was there.
And in the league.
Marcus Long. It doesn't stop. And they put them everywhere. They've put them in Penn State. They're at Tennessee. They go to USC. They've played at Marshall. They're DJ Wingate, for that matter. Let's not forget Keelan Johnson.
Correct. The Bucks going back to running the football here out of that spread set and getting some yardage.
Now, Spruce Creek on the other side, they've been just as wealthy in some ability and some talent as well. They've produced Brian Hill, Doug Justice, Eddie Lucas, who now plays baseball for the Miami Marlins. He's a Major League Baseball player, was a quarterback for the team. Bruce McNorton, who had 11 years in the NFL. So this is, ironically, we're looking at two teams that have placed quite a few kids into college.
Absolutely, and have at varying times in their existence have been Mainland more so than Creek, but Creek has been very good at times in their history. I know, Coach Jocum's years there were, as you well know, you were on that staff, and they were tremendous, and you guys had a tremendous group of talent there, size, speed, and well coached. It was they've had some, and you go back to guys like Kim Mack.
No doubt.
Kim Mack's a 190-pound inside linebacker, plays at Florida State, and I had the pleasure of working with Kim at Atlantic. great man. I've actually got his daughter in class right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's what happens when you're old.
They had a Mobley. They had a couple people. Doug Justice. I don't know if I mentioned Doug Justice.
No, you didn't mention Doug, and he was a tremendous player.
Went to North Carolina, initially committed to Michigan. There was a whole circus involved in that, but he went to North Carolina, had a great career, had a season-ending, which turned out to be a career-ending injury with his foot. And he's doing well as, I believe it's an SID.
Nice.
At App State.
Correct. How about LaShawn Newberry?
Quigg, those guys.
Yeah, they were just excellent.
And that's just two of the schools here in this area. The list goes on and on. 2:09 remaining in the first half. Mainland calls timeout. Excuse me, Spruce. Yes, Mainland called timeout, leading 28-0. As they take a timeout, so will we.
You did say.
I thought about it.
You said something.
No.
You said
It was by mistake. We're live.
Right.
Municipal Stadium. I'm Billy Gahagan. He's Steve Allen. Bad snap. I guess the center thought that Denzel might have been under center, and he wasn't.
No, it was a bad snap. It looks like they've recovered it here.
Something I just realized, Coach, it's second down for Mainland, and it's 10, 20, 30 yards? It's second and 37.
Wow. Not necessarily manageable.
15, 20, 25.
I think in that situation, what you're trying to do is just get some of it. You don't have to. You're not going to get it all. Just get some of it. Have a positive play. I look for a dig route in the post on the top side.
Or go up top right
Or
away.
just go right by him. He ran right by him.
So let's talk about how that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, he's in the end zone.
That's so much for what I'm thinking about. Don't go after all of it. But again, in that
maybe
situation,
that's why you're in the booth.
Maybe.
No,
maybe.
That's not fair.
Because I tell you, as a defense, that's the one you're not going to give up. You just can't give that one up. And I think we alluded to it early on. Is when they get in those 2x1s and they got the tight end and the dual set, or if they've got two backs. When you've got the solo guy, they're soloing that guy out, and that guy's on an island, and they've made him pay for that 3 times already.
That was sophomore Denzel Houston to junior Wilfred Taylor. Something for everybody in the area to look forward to for the years coming. Baudette's kick, without looking, is up, and it's good. It's now 35-0 Mainland.
Really impressed, Billy, with how that ball is coming out of Denzel's hand. I mean, he's
effortless.
He missed one that he underthrew a little bit. Each of the others have been spot on. People catching it in stride. He's just putting it on them, and it looks nice. He looks under control. He is, again, my first chance to get to see him play, but he is as advertised.
Coach, getting back to your let's not go after it all on this play, how many people sit there and think that on second down and 37, an offense is going to throw the home run ball?
Well, again, I mean, I think that you know your matchups, and you know what you've got the ability to do and what you have confidence in doing. And obviously, Coach Anthony likes that matchup, and I think that you could kind of see as the play developed, as he caught the ball and ran, there was no chance that corner runs with him. So if I know that he doesn't run with him, then I'm probably going to get him a little further away and maybe give them the underneath stuff to take that away. And, could be by design. That might be how Coach Meadows designed it, and then, your player on the field just doesn't execute it. That does happen in high school.
But that could be their play every possession.
Absolutely.
And again, That's not taking away from Spruce Creek at all.
No, it's just the ability level and the explosive athletes that Mainland has, and the confidence that their coaches have in putting those guys in positions to make those types of plays and not being afraid to call those types of plays. And again, hats off to Coach Anthony.
Andrew Spence on the return once again for the Hawks. They will set up shop on their side of the 50. Mainland up 35-0.
Gets tough to find plays to dial up, and let's see if the Creek offense is going to come in 2-by-2. They're going to be spread. What you really don't want to do here is have a quick 3-and-out, let them use their timeout. I think they might have one left and get the ball back and try to go over top of you again. Ball's out. Ball's out.
It's impossible.
It's the
possible,
worst.
But it's impossible.
It's the worst scenario for Creek, like I just said. Any scenario that gives them the ball back with that little bit of time left with this situation, the score situation the way it is, and they've done that right here.
So Mainland forces another turnover. They will get the ball again with a short field from the Spruce Creek 31-yard line with 1 minute, 1 second remaining in the first half and leading Spruce Creek 35-0.
I keep going back to those game keys, Billy. It just, I think that's the fourth turnover. They've given up 4 big plays, and their run game has been, for the most part, non-existent. And those were all the things that were going to be key to them having a chance to compete with this bunch. And, the things that they couldn't do, or they've done. The very things that they couldn't do.
So now you have an offside or an encroachment call, for that matter, against your team, giving 5 free yards to
exactly. It's just too easy. They're going to run the same play. They're going to run the go off of it, though, and they've got him in the seam. And he dropped it.
Oh, that was just one of those he knew he was going to score type things. And
Yep.
Tried to run without the ball.
Yep, they're trying to set up the swing screen there and trying to get the defenders to react to the pump, to the swing, and then just throw the seam behind it. It's a great call because you've got four eligibles out here. And basically what you've got to do is you've just got to give ground and let them throw the swing route and then rally to it. Because you're not, well, I shouldn't say you're not. A team like Mainland can score on the swing route, but, that's the likelihood of that happening is a lot less.
Definite run package here, Coach? Double tight? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've got pistol eye, and they're going to go up top off of it, and they're going to scramble now. And he's out of bounds.
He's out of bounds. Oh. So they bring in 2 tight ends. One of them is Ja'Kai Polite. The other one is number 12, Jacob Thielman. That formation was short-lived.
Yeah, it's basically the Creek was in that before in the eye. It's 2 tight ends, 1 wide out, 2 backs in the back, and with 44 seconds left here, I'm looking for them to take a shot.
Why not? Spread offense. 2-by-2. Houston looking to go up top. Doesn't see anything. He's going to take the sure catch.
Denzel seems to be in it. It could be the play call too, but he seems to be, eyeballing 8 pretty good, and he wanted 8 the whole way there, and I think he may have been able to come off of that and go back to the top side, and now they're going to empty it out on him. This is tough when your athletes are better than the athletes on the other side, and they start emptying you out because now it's just straight matchups.
Randy Baker was on that last reception. Houston looking. He's probably going to do something.
Trouble. He caught it. Didn't get in bounds. It's a tremendous catch. He was just out of bounds. Wow.
Wilford Taylor on the reception, but he was ruled out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 19 seconds.
Denzel had no feet, no lower half, no base to throw that from, and just poked it in there pretty good. That was a pretty strong throw.
I'm not quite sure that Denzel equates to a quarterback at the next level based on the fact that his mechanics aren't great.
Right.
He has a great arm,
Mm-hmm.
but his mechanics, setting his feet, he's just so much of a scrambler. I wonder if maybe he's not best suited to be a slot guy or running back or, Maybe he plays in the secondary somewhere.
Well, having seen him now for 2 quarters, I would withhold my judgment until I saw him some more, because he's going to have some development that's going to come his way, and they look like they had some miscommunication, and the wideout broke off his route. But he's got a lot of growing to do. He's going to get coached. He's got they're going to win a lot of football games. He's going to play more games than most kids. So you just don't know how his development is going to come along.
Pass was intended for Will Collins that time, as you said, Coach. He and Collins in Houston on 2 different pages.
And we have 12 seconds left here, and they just may.
Third and 10, take another shot. If not, they're going to kick a field goal.
Yeah, they got the solo up top. This is where I'm coming. I'm coming to slant route up top. That's where I'm going. Oh, they just ran the mesh, and they had him, and I think they might have just put a little bit too much on that. That's a good play call. They just ran the mesh route right there, and I think if he gives him something he can handle there, he may have scored that.
4th down. They are not bringing on their field goal unit.
I see McCrary coming into the game.
Surprised by this, Coach?
Well, again, with the 35-point lead, you're really not taking a risk here. You're not, it's not a gamble, But with McCrary in the game, I'm interested to see it's just for protection. They're going to throw it up and give him a chance.
Well, no, surprised from the standpoint of that they didn't kick the field goal. At what point, we talked about this once before. At what point is showing up? At what point is, if you're pumping the brakes, are you showing them up? If you don't,
Well, I'm kind of the old ball coach philosophy. Coach Spurrier, he said it best. That's those guys on the other team. That's their job. As far as showing somebody up, it's the first half. This has been a big game. It's been it's been built up in the media, in guys like us, saying that Creek has a chance and it's a big ball game. So you want to let your kids play, and it's still the first half. So as far as showing somebody up or whatnot, I think you have every right as the coach to run your offense.
2 seconds remaining before the half, and Spruce Creek elects to call a timeout. You got him. Might as well use him, right?
I guess, but at 111 on the last series, and it was a turnover, so, but still, the worst thing that could happen was to let them have the ball back, and they did that. And with 2 seconds left, hopefully scoop and score, fumble, scoop and score, sack, those things aren't out of the deal. I think what Creek probably has done here is probably called a run play, and they're going to get to the half and try to regroup and get out here in the second half. And
Coach, you're down 35-0. You tell the defense, "Hey, I'm taking a knee," and you regroup. You're at your 16-yard line.
Agreed.
I mean, you just
agreed.
So I'm kind of confused as to why we even called a timeout. Why that wasn't discussed prior to? Hey, listen.
I don't think
we just dodged the bullet because they could have scored again.
I don't think they had the personnel in the game. I don't think they had enough people.
Well, they're in there. One would have to assume that they're in their obvious taking a knee formation. Everybody is warned about it. I guess not.
And he's going to run the football here, and that's going to end the half.
So, on that play, we end the first half. 35-0. Mainland leading Spruce Creek. We're going to take a brief timeout, and we'll be back.
35, Spruce Creek.